The Gentle Bear English Listening Story. Welcome back to another English listening story. Today we have a heartwarming story about a little girl named Lucy, a bear named Bruno, and one small mistake that changed both of their lives. Listen carefully and enjoy the story. It was a beautiful afternoon. The golden sun shone through the trees, and a gentle breeze moved through the forest. Lucy was running along a winding path, holding a bright red kite. Higher, higher, Lucy shouted happily. Her kite danced above the trees. It was Lucy's favorite kite. Her grandmother had given it to her as a birthday present. The kite was red, with beautiful yellow stars and long ribbons that moved in the wind. Lucy loved it very much. But Lucy was watching the sky, and she wasn't watching where she was going. Suddenly, her foot hit a tree root. Lucy fell to the ground, and the kite string slipped from her hands. "Oh no," she cried. The wind carried her beautiful kite over the trees and deep into the forest. Lucy quickly stood up. She brushed the dirt from her clothes and ran into the forest to find her kite. Meanwhile, deeper in the forest, a large brown bear named Bruno was waking up from a nap. Bruno was a big bear, but he was also very gentle. He never hurt the smaller animals. Sometimes he helped them reach fruit in tall trees. Sometimes he moved fallen branches from their paths. Everyone in the forest knew Bruno as a kind and friendly bear. As Bruno walked toward his favorite raspberry bushes, he saw something red in the sky. He looked up. "What is that?" he seemed to wonder. He had never seen a kite before. Soon, the red kite slowly came down. Its string became caught in the branches above Bruno. Bruno stood on his back legs and reached toward the strange object with his large paw. Just then, Lucy ran into the clearing. "My kite!" she shouted. Bruno was surprised. His paw suddenly closed around the kite. Rip! The quiet forest was filled with the sound of tearing fabric. Lucy stopped. She looked at her beautiful kite. It was torn. Her face became sad. Then, tears filled her eyes. And soon, sadness became anger. "You horrible bear!" Lucy shouted. "You broke my kite. My grandmother gave me that." Bruno immediately dropped the kite. His eyes were wide with surprise and sadness. He hadn't wanted to break it. It had been an accident. But Lucy was too upset to notice. She picked up the broken pieces of her kite. "Horrible bear," she said again. Then she ran home, crying. Bruno sat quietly in the forest. The words stayed in his mind. Horrible bear. No one had ever called him horrible before. He was known as a gentle bear. But now, he felt hurt. He thought for a moment, if she thinks I'm a horrible bear, maybe I really am one. The next morning, Bruno decided to act like a horrible bear. He walked heavily through the forest. He scared the rabbits. He knocked small branches to the ground. He splashed water near the chipmunks. The animals were confused. An old owl watched Bruno from a tree. "What's wrong with you, Bruno?" the owl asked. Bruno looked up. "I'm not Bruno anymore," he said angrily. "I'm Horrible Bear now. That's what I am." The old owl shook his head. "Because one person called you horrible, does that mean you are horrible?" But Bruno didn't answer. He continued walking through the forest. Being mean didn't feel good. In fact, it made him feel even worse. Meanwhile, Lucy was at home with her broken kite. Her mother helped her place the torn pieces on the kitchen table. "What happened to your kite, sweetheart?" her mother asked. "A horrible bear broke it," Lucy said sadly. "He grabbed it and tore it apart." Her mother looked carefully at the kite. "Did he do it on purpose?" she asked. Lucy opened her mouth to say yes. But then she stopped. She remembered the bear's face. He had looked surprised. And when she shouted, he had immediately dropped the kite. Lucy also remembered something else. She had been the one who lost the kite string. She had been running without looking where she was going. Maybe the bear didn't mean to break it. "I don't know," Lucy said quietly. "Maybe it was an accident." Her mother smiled gently. "Sometimes accidents happen," she said. "Do you remember when you accidentally spilled juice on Mr. Peterson's newspaper?" Lucy nodded. "Did that make you a horrible girl?" Lucy slowly shook her head. "No." Her mother smiled. "Then perhaps one accident doesn't make Bruno a horrible bear either." Lucy looked at the broken kite. For the first time, she understood something important. She had been angry, but her words had hurt someone. The next day, Lucy returned to the forest. She carried something wrapped in brown paper. She followed the same path, looking carefully for Bruno. Finally, she found him sitting alone beside a small stream. He looked very sad. "Hello," Lucy said softly. Bruno looked up. He was surprised to see her again. For a moment, he remembered that he was supposed to be a horrible bear, but he couldn't bring himself to growl at her. "I brought you something," Lucy said. She slowly walked closer. Then she opened the brown paper. Inside, there was a small kite. It was made from pieces of colorful fabric. Lucy had made it herself. "I made this for you," she said. "And I came to say sorry." Bruno looked at her quietly. "I'm sorry for calling you horrible," Lucy continued. "I was upset, but it was an accident. I shouldn't have said those words." Bruno blinked. His heart felt warm again. "You're not horrible," Lucy said. "You're a good bear." Then she held out the small kite. "Would you like to learn how to fly a kite?" Bruno looked at the kite. Very carefully, he took in his large paws. This time, he was gentle, very gentle. And then, Bruno smiled. That afternoon, something wonderful could be seen in the forest meadow. A small girl and a large brown bear running together through the grass. Above them, a small colorful kite danced in the wind. And from that day forward, Bruno was never called Horrible Bear again. Instead, the animals of the forest called him Gentil Bruno, the friend of the forest. Lucy and Bruno had both learned something important. A mistake does not define who you are. And sometimes, a sincere apology and forgiveness can turn a painful moment into a beautiful friendship. Did you enjoy this story? What do you think was the most important lesson? And here's a listening challenge for you. Try listening to the story one more time. Can you find 5 words that describe Bruno's personality? Listen carefully and see how many you can find. Thank you for listening, and see you in the next English story.